Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the show. As you guys all know by now, the Dolphins have hired a new offensive line coach, and it is Butch Barry. We will discuss him more in detail as we get more people into the room. But for now, it's Butch Barry. I will go over his resume a little bit. He has served on several teams. He's been on in the NFL. He's been on the Buccaneers. He's been on the Denver Broncos. And he was on, most importantly, the San Francisco 49ers in 2021, because that's why I say most importantly. That is probably where the connection with Mike McDaniel comes into play. They were on the same staff there together in 2021. Yes, there were some bigger names out there that Dolphin fans were hoping in that for the offensive line coach, but it is what it is. Hopefully, we can make the most of his time here, and I would discuss more later when more of you guys get into the room. But anyway, I am Rob Mosley, aka Dolphin Thirsty, and as always, you are about to see. I'm joined by Justin of Digging in the Trenches. Good
What's
morning,
up, guys?
Justin.
Hey, how's it going?
Nothing much. I know you don't. I know you and I have been talking about Butch Barry. We would talk a little bit more about him when we get more people here in the room.
Right.
Overall, your quick thumbs up, thumbs down on the move of Butch Barry.
Ooh,
wait and see.
I'm like this right now.
Okay.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Like we were talking backstage about Butch Barry, about his time or whatnot with in the NFL, and that year they had with Mike McDaniels where he was the assistant offensive line coach. I guess they might have had a really good working relationship. He had Joe Barry and Mike McDaniels had a winning record as both. I mean, obviously he was the run game coordinator, so they had a working relationship. So
Yeah.
I think maybe Mike McDaniels liked the working relationship they had, and they hit it off. And he's like, "Well, I need a guy, so I'm going to go with who I know." So that's what I think.
That's all we can help, because when you read the complete resume, it's not the most impressive. I mean, it's impressive. Hell, he's an NFL coach, and I've never touched that position in my life, so I'm not knocking him personally, but compared to some other people out there, is not the greatest, because he didn't even make a whole season in Denver, and people said he would leave like sticky notes instead of communicating with players directly. But I just can't see that flying on a McDaniel shop, because McDaniel is such the opposite of that. He's like hands-on, wants to be talking with players and friends with players and all that. So I'm sure he's going to say, listen, if this is true, no, you're not going to leave a note. If you have to tell them to do something, tell them face to face. So
Right.
Hopefully, they get some of those things. And like you said, you read a little note when I had read yesterday that Denver players actually applauded when they found out, Barry had been fired by Denver. But, that's if it's a bad season. So, that's just a lot of politics. So we don't really know about that. People are mad and the season sucked. They didn't like him. But yeah, hey, good morning, Garrett.
Garrett, what's up, buddy?
Morning.
Yeah, man. Like, who knows? Like, I thought about it as soon as we hired him, and I was like, oh, and I went back and thought about, where he came from, because people were mentioning his experience, and they said Denver, and I was like, last year he was in Denver, and I was like, oh, damn, they had a terrible year last year,
and they gave up more sacks than any other team in the NFL. Yep. But some people say that falls on Russell Wilson, because Russell Wilson's known to hold the ball longer, trying to make stuff happen. So,
well, it doesn't help that they had their whole offensive line was banged up just like ours. So that doesn't ever help. Their left tackle, they lost their left tackle for the season. That's going to hurt you every time. And that left tackle was that Garrett Bowles. If you know anything about him, he had a great year the year before that. He was one of the best left tackles in the game. He's a little bit grabby and very aggressive and won't let his quarterback get killed, but that's what you want in your offensive lineman.
Right. But anyway, for Butch Barry, though, we will see. I know, like you were reading all kinds of. He asked for fans, that anyone down here in South Florida that also happens to like the Hurricanes. He was the offensive line coach for the Hurricanes in 2019. So he has some South Florida connections, so you probably know where to go live, and
it all makes too much sense. See, kind of like when you connect the tea leaves, like he used to be a former Miami University of Miami Hurricanes coach. Look, so he's familiar with the area, familiar with home. You know what I'm saying?
Like with McDaniel, so
familiar with McDaniel. So it just made too much sense, and they probably were like, "Hey, we want to get this thing started right now." So let's just do this. We'll make this work. All I need to know is, does McDaniel trust him with his job in Miami? His O-line will make or break his tenure here in Miami. Absolutely, it will. I agree with you, Garrett. And obviously, he trusts him. He trusts him, or I don't think he would have gave him the job. He thinks that he can do it, and they got a good working relationship. They had a playoff record that year, too. I think they went to the NFC Championship game the year that they were both working together in San Francisco, if I'm not mistaken.
In 2021, yeah.
Yep. So
that was his last season before he came over to Miami. McDaniel's lasted. So they do work together. So
that's what I was just gonna say. I was like, damn, they actually have a working relationship in the same kind of like forte. Like if McDaniel was the run game coordinator and he was the assistant offensive line coach, those two go hand in hand. You know what I'm saying? Like peanut butter and jelly. So they have to know each other really well. And maybe he thinks that this guy is someone who could add on to what they're trying to do in Miami now and bring like the Mike McDaniel's flavor of that system, like the Kyle Shanahan system. It's kind of they run the same kind of style. Maybe make it more his own. You know what I mean? Like to bring the run game stuff to Miami. Like we've seen some of it. Some real inventive play designs and calls, but I'd like to see more of it. And I'd like to see them, really hammer the run game out. That way it takes pressure off of our young quarterback.
I don't know if this is a guy we had in mind from the get-go or something didn't go right behind the doors. We would never know, but this is who McDaniel chose. So we're riding with him. And like Garrett says, it's going to be very important the offensive line gets better over the next couple seasons, because it's been bad for years.
It's super important. It's mucho importante. And I'll be honest with you, just like we talked about on previous shows, I'm on fire today. Watch out. They needed to bring in Mike Munchak. If you still bring in Munchak in some form of capacity, even to be the assistant offensive line coach or
he would be. I would make him an assistant head coach or something, because he's not going to come in under this guy, not with his resume. So.
Well, you never know what's going to happen, but at the same point in time, we need more help down there, I think. And you also got to account that the assistant from last year, the Legene Perrier, he's back, so he'll be with this.
People were shocked that he got retained last year, and then so they obviously saw something they liked, because people weren't big on him. And they're thinking, "Oh, I'm happy," and then he's not gone. So it's like McDaniel came in, and I know. But then Frank Smith's our offensive coordinator, but he's spent a lot of time coaching the offensive line over the years. But supposedly that's why they wanted someone with more experience, but he doesn't really have that much more experience than Applebaum, other than he's older and he's jumped around more teams and stuff. But because they wanted someone that can make Frank Smith more concentrate on the whole offense instead of coming down there, I guess. And he was spent a lot of time coaching the offensive line, from reports I've read. So they wanted someone that can, have an offensive line coach that can just handle the unit without having to worry about Frank Smith checking in on the meetings.
I think that's why they grabbed this guy. He can do that for you. It might not be the best hire, even the players, like, you better not leave me a sticky note, damn it. Yeah, I understand. I get it. It's not the best hire, but it's something they had to do right now. I will say about the Legene Perrier thing, I know no one liked it to bring him around, but even the year where we first got him, and I happened to catch an interview he had, and he was talking about Austin Jackson, and what he said drew me to him as a coach. I was like, oh damn, he gets it. He's like, listen, we got to break down his game, and I want to take a lot of high repetition reps to find out what's going on in there. I want to take as many reps as quickly as I can so I can see, so I can figure it out. And I was like, damn, he gets it. That's what you need to do with these guys, is you need to take as many reps with them as they can and be like, okay, listen, he's leaning too much onto his, the top half is leaning over, like Austin Jackson gets caught reaching in the cookie jar. That's his biggest problem. You got to stay home. You got to coach these guys up. You got to teach them how to reset from the ground up. And we had that one defensive coach here. His name was Patrick Graham. I loved his philosophy of, listen, all my players need to match from their feet, their hands, and their eyes, their hands, their feet, their eyes, their hands, their feet. That's something that's real big with me. If you don't do that kind of stuff, I'm like, damn, you need work. We need to work with you to make them work better. And that's what they need to do down there. You need to develop these players.
Well, I know that's where some of our, I think, problems come on the offensive line over the years.
It is.
I don't know. It's it's like either the, like to say, don't put the horse before the carriage or the carriage before the horse, the old saying. And that's where we are with the Dolphins. Is it the offensive line coaches? Is it the players? Is it us just moving on from coaches way too quick? Because this is, like I said, we got we have more seasons, more coaches than seasons
Oh man,
left with offensive line.
Yeah, I know.
We've
It's
had like
nuts.
10 offensive line coaches in 9 seasons. It's crazy.
It's bad. It's
are
bad.
they bad because of the talent, or are they bad coaches, and that's why we move on? That's like we can never figure out that equation, and that's why we keep on changing. But
you kind of just answered your own question. I think it's a mixture of both. It's bad coaching mixed with less talented group. You have to have good coaching. And then you have bad talent, you really need good coaching because you're like, no, I need more out of you. You really need to get in these players' face and be like, listen, man, I don't want you turning around and running and chasing these guys to save your quarterback. But if you have to, turn around and run, like former offensive line coach. Or no, I think he's still in there. Howard Mudd, that's his famous line. If you have to turn around and run, you turn your ass around and run and go get the guy. Yeah, but I would have been more along the lines of getting a guy like that has more experience in the outside zone scheme, like the John Benton. He's the offensive line coach, I think, for the Jets right now, if he's still there. But that'd have been a guy I would be interested in, is someone who teaches the outside zone scheme. So,
yeah. So that's a long-winded answer, Garrett. But yes, we think he must trust him, or he wouldn't have hired him. And I agree with you, Justin. There's so many combination of factors that maybe we haven't drafted well. The players haven't, or they haven't lived up to their potential based on their own self, or they haven't lived up to their potential because they haven't got the proper coaching, and they're simply doing what's asked of them, but they're not getting the proper, they're doing what they're taught, but they're not being taught the right way. So, there's so many things, but there have been disappointments among the players too, of course, though.
Well, yeah, but like you just said, it's a variable of factors that are involved. Oh, what's up? My man Kendall's in the house. You can bring
him in, Justin. Bring him in.
All right.
Justin's going to be doing his own show Saturday. So
right.
You're going to have to learn how to bring them in. There he is. Oh, I got to. I'm going to change the banner though.
Howard, what's up? Kendall Mack is in the house. You guys, welcome to the show. Kendall, how you doing this morning?
Oh, he's froze on us, but that's okay.
He'll come right back.
There he is.
There he is. Kendall, welcome to the show this morning. How's it going, man?
Hey, this is fun live stuff here, So.
It's okay. It's just technology.
Yeah.
I think right now we can't hear you.
Hey, Kendall. Good morning.
There. Not yet.
We can't hear him. We'll figure it out. Don't worry. We got it. I heard.
Maybe he'll drop back out, come back in.
It's all fine. He'd be here. He's been here before. It's just his connection, probably.
Yep, absolutely.
So anyway,
can't help
technology. For a second. When he comes on, I'll drop out for a second because I forgot to promote us on Twitter today. I need to post.
Oh no!
I know. I don't know because I saw all the news, and then I was trying to write that Kenny McIntosh article.
Right.
I forgot to.
We'll wait for G-Man to get in here before we drop into any of that. But like I was going to say, the relationship of the offensive line, it's touch and feel like how all we do our jobs, right? Think about what you just said. They've had 9 offensive line coaches in the last 10 years. If you everything's changing on a yearly basis, they can get no consistency, no continuity, no, I know what we're going to be doing now. This is the offensive line scheme that we're going to run. This is my offensive line coach. This is what he expects of me, blah, blah, blah. Can't get that. Let's try to bring Kendall back in again. Kendall, my man, good morning. Welcome to the show.
It's good, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now, man.
Perfect.
Welcome,
Kendall.
How's it going?
It's going good, man.
What do you think of the Butch Barry hire?
It's a questionable hire.
It is.
Yeah. I know. After the thrill of getting Fangio, then it's kind of like so we all were living off that. Man, we got our coach we wanted, and then when there's other guys out there that we could have hired, because I know Justin was banging for Mike Moonchuck is who he wanted to be the offensive line coach, or who was it, Richard?
Yeah, or Dan Richard. Yeah, Gino had mentioned 2 names I liked. Yeah, Dan Richard and Munchak. Who did you think, Kendall? Who did you like for the job?
I liked Munchak.
Yeah, I wanted Munchak in there, man.
That was the biggest thing about the firing of Applebaum is, to me, you go ahead and
we lost.
I think he accidentally hit the out button on his phone or whatever. He'll be back in.
That's all good. But
happens, dog.
yeah, I think he was going to cover like after that. You were thinking that they must have had someone in mind probably after the Apple. You know,
I
and
would
that's
think
what,
so.
and that's what he was. Here he comes again.
And real fast, bro. No worries. What's up, bro?
What's up, man? Having some issues this morning.
It's all good. It's all good, bro.
But yeah, you don't make the decision to fire your O-line coach after 1 year unless you say, hey, there's a clear cut
Better option.
And so to me it was like you go and get Applebaum from Boston College to basically, start his NFL career and replicate what he was doing at Boston College. Did you see enough after 1 year to say, hey, anything is better than this? Because, Brady doesn't have any he doesn't have any experience at all either. So
I know I was gonna say his resume's not much better, really. Like, hold on one second here. G-Man, good morning.
Oh, G-Man.
I got a little Macintosh thing written up for you. So,
Kendall will like this too. You can drop that whenever you're ready. Now G-Man's here.
This is from Justin. I did the graphics. He did the write-up.
Yep, I went ahead for you, G-Man, and looked at your favorite player right off the bat here. The guy that you say is a must-have. We have to have. I'll be honest with you, G-Man. I am very impressed. The kid scored a 97 on my SRS scorecard. I'll share the write-up with you. See what you think, G-Man. This is for you, buddy. Girthy back, good combination of size and speed that are rare size-speed combo. Every season got better and better at Georgia. Not a lot of tread on the tires. Speed blazing fast, easy, high 4.4s, agility very, very good. Quick start and stop, quicks, nice wiggle, laterally, very quick, almost as fast as straight line forward. Feet way above average, quick, light, great flexibility. Route running has advanced rapidly this last season. Hit a good stride out of the backfield. Route tree is ever growing, not mastered, but getting better. One-on-one, very hard to cover. Runs routes like a possession receiver. Foot down, cuts sharply. Contact balance, again, well above average. Runs hard behind his pads, gets low using his hands nice and soft. Catcher like explosive slot wideout even. Makes tough high-pointed one-hand catches. Can and will pick up blitz, chip, or cut block. It's real good. Patient when needed, but fast when he has to hit it. Does press the hole nicely. Tries to squeeze everything he can out of it. Power is great. Runs hard behind pads. Thick lower frame with this. Breaks a lot of tackles, whether he truck sticks or runs out of their arm tackles. Spins, jumps, cuts, stiff arms, squeaky, ducking, diving, hard to square. Tons of yards after contact. Special teams kick returner offers more value. Explosive from anywhere on the field, even through a touchdown pass in the semifinals game last year. Great looking prospect. Has Sundays written all over him. Does a little bit of everything. Run with speed and power. Carries piles forward. Great yards after contact. Hands, routes, decoys, kick returner, pass protection. Just needs to concentrate on ball control. Putting it away, not fumbling. Two hands in high traffic and piles. Everything else is gold. Can work on the two-handed carry. So that's the only knock I got on him, G-Man, is he needs to hold on to the football. So everything else on that dude is awesome. He just needs to hold on to the football.
And G-Man, make sure to check out dolphinthirsty.com coming soon. I'm actually in the middle of writing up an article for the website.
The guy's awesome, bro. I really like him. He's scored a 97. He didn't get no Chain or Tajay Spears numbers over the 100. Like, it's funny, G-Man. I got a funny story about this. I was doing this last night to Rob, and I was like, oh, my God, this guy's a gem. He scored 106 points, but I got the math wrong on it. So I had to go back and do the math on it again. And it was still a great score at a 97. He's right there with Zach Charbonnet on my SRS scorecard. So, yeah, great prospect, man. He'll be there. But with this scorecard and the looking on him, and he's going to move up. I think it could be somewhere, like you're saying, third round. I'm thinking it's third round for sure for McIntosh.
Okay. And Garrett, if you have a podcast, go for it. If you have one, if you want to promote it, tell us what it is, and we go
absolutely.
Look for it. So
We'll definitely plug that. What you think about that right up on McIntosh, Kendall? I know you're doing some scouting yourself.
Yeah, I wouldn't have him that high. I think that Maybe I'm a little biased just because Georgia's O line was just that good.
Yeah, they're
They were great.
badass.
Yeah, I think that the holding on to the ball thing is something that I completely agree with. Um, but I think that whoever said that he's gotten better every single year at Georgia is absolutely correct.
That was me. You got it. Every
So,
year his stats are just getting better and
yeah,
better, man. He's improving.
I think what I struggle with is because when I'm looking at these guys, I'm trying to find value, right? So,
Yes.
like some guys I'm higher on than others because I know at where we'll be able to get them or where they will be taken, there's going to be a value. Where I struggle with McIntosh is trying to figure out where other teams would take him. If you tell me that he's there in the fourth round, the fifth round, like he's a dude.
It's a no-brainer.
That's the deal.
Yes.
But I also don't see him going in the second round ahead of an Chain. I don't see him going ahead of
No,
I don't
I
see
don't
him
either.
going ahead of some of the more premier guys like Tank Bigsby, who people have kind of seen really have a true workload since closer to the end of their freshman year and sophomore year. So while he's gotten better, I just don't know if there's enough really real tape on him to say, yeah, he's a second round talent.
So you think that the less tread on the tires for McIntosh is kind of a knock on him, and then that carries for Bigsby. How many big carries does Bigsby have going in over the last couple seasons? I haven't got into his scorecard yet, but I'm going to do that like this next couple days.
I don't know. I was super high on Bigsby going into the year. Definitely didn't really. I don't want to say he kind of dropped on my board, but I think there was other guys who like truly separated themselves, like Gibbs. I knew Gibbs was going to be a problem going into Alabama, having that opportunity. Definitely, definitely surpassed expectations. Just being able to see what he was able to do. Chain. I mean, his speed is just it's absolutely crazy. I think he's going to be the fastest running back on.
Yep.
I think he's going to be the fastest running back at the combine if everybody decides to go.
Yep.
And so with that being said, I mean it kind of leaves people like Tajay Spears and
That kid's
McIntosh.
awesome.
Tajay Spears,
I got him rated. I got him rated at 100.
Yeah, I think that was all I needed to see. I needed to see him with other NFL premier talent. And see if he was going to be able to truly make those cuts,
right?
And have that vision.
Oh man, his vision is elite, dude. It's
crazy.
that guy like has eyes in the back of his head, man.
Right.
Tape on him, a lot of tape. And I'll be honest with you, that dude makes the first dude miss every time. No one can square that dude up. That dude is lights out good, man. I really like Tajay Spears. I really, really like him. He can catch out of the backfield. He can do it all, man. He's just as good as Devon Chain, but Chain's just a little bit faster than he is.
And everyone, right now we're doing a little NFL draft talk with Kendall and
That's good, man. It's getting hot.
If you dropped in here because, we said this was about the Butch Barry hire, please, if you're just joining us, we talked about Butch Barry to pop off the show, but drop your thoughts on Butch Barry and we will go over everything again about him. So
right there, what G-Man just said.
The show was about Butch Barry, but we got into some fun.
We got into some running back talk. And McIntosh has light feet, but also runs with power. Yes, he does. That was one of the most impressive things about the dude on tape for me was he actually, when he gets into a pile, he carries it. He keeps legs pumping. Very strong, breaks tackles. His contact balance is great. Love the prospect, man. He was real good. Real good. Like Kendall said, though, it's I kind of agree with him. Like, I don't know where other teams view this guy at. Like, do they view him as that dude? Because if they view him as that dude, and everybody does, he's going in the late second round. Do you agree, Kendall? If he's that guy and everybody sees him.
I would say he has the ability to go late second round, early third at the earliest. Unless he just has this crazy combine, puts up crazy numbers, which I think he will be able to do with like his 40 stuff like that. But I just don't know if it's enough to really like solidify him as a second rounder. I think that the latest he may go is like a fourth or fifth. So I mean that's a huge difference between like a Chain where it's like I know that Achane is either a second round pick or he's a third.
Yes. There's
He's not
no in
making it out the
between.
third.
Yep,
Right.
I agree. And that's the thing about McIntosh I don't know. But G-Man, holy cow, me and you were like, brother, his receiving skills are what I love. Me too. That's what I was like, dude. It separates him from all the other running backs in the backfield, or his ability to catch the passes out of the backfield and run them like a receiver. Like I said in the breakdown, he's like an extra slot receiver that's a possession guy that's squeaky. Like literally, he can run those routes out of the slot, a condensed slot. Trips, they love to use him in smoke, screen, bubble screen, doesn't matter. This dude just get the ball in his hands and he's going to make plays. If McIntosh goes to the combine, Kendall, and runs anything under a 4.40, that's it. He's going in the second round. I don't care. That's my opinion.
Yeah. I could definitely see if he does drop into the third, I could definitely see this being one of McDaniel's picks.
Yep,
because
absolutely. Same.
He loves the speed guys, the one cut and vision guys.
That's this guy.
Also, what we're missing is that true running back out of the backfield who could be able to catch passes. So, I think he's an option. I think there's four guys that I really have my eyes on as far as running back, and he's the fourth one. I think it goes Gibbs, Achane, Spears, and McIntosh.
Damn, ours are the same. And that's the backs I like as well. The same ones that he just named are the ones I named. In fact, I was going to name them for you, and that's going to be the ones. So, like, me and you are on the same page.
I hear a lot of talk about people saying Zach Charbonnet, and I'm probably butchering his name, of course.
Zach Charbonnet. Yeah.
I just don't think necessarily he fits the system.
I disagree, bro. I disagree.
I think that if it was up to me, if I was drafting, I'm looking for somebody with home run premier speed. Of course, I want somebody who's gonna, make a guy miss, break tackles, and that's what I think Zach Charbonnet is, or Charbonnet. I don't know.
Charbonnet.
Zach C. That's what he's known for. The more I look on tape, I just don't see that home run speed. And it's only gonna be worse. It's only gonna be worse in the NFL as you have some of that premier talent. Those guys who run at 4.3, those guys who run at 4.4. I just see him getting caught from behind too many times on tape, and
it's something he needs to work on. But he's not going to get any faster. Like me and you know, you're either built, born with that speed, or you don't have it. But I think he's. Man, I'll be honest with you. I have him rated right there with McIntosh. He's at 97. I'll be honest with you. I really like Zach. I think he's got some underrated speed and underrated agility that no one's seeing yet. If he goes out into the combine and runs even a 4.4, I think he's going to change your mind. 4.4, even a 4.49, he's going to change your mind, bro. Like that, he has speed.
And that's one thing that I have on my tape is like I literally have 4 or 5 question mark right by him because if he runs a 4.4, that's going to surprise me. I do have him possibly being in that 4 or 5 area, so we'll have to see what that checks out.
Yeah, you're right, dude. We're on the same page, bro. Because I'm looking at his scorecard right now, and I was right with you. Same thing. I got him this close to being a 9 on his speed. 8, and the reason why it's an 8 is because he's not that runaway breakaway speed guy. He's more of a straight line in between the tacklers type of runner, but he does have some, like I said, hidden low key run for agility and speed, but he's not fast like those guys. But
don't
real
get me
quick,
wrong, like if we were to choose 2 high end backs, let's say we were to get one in the second, and then get a linebacker and then double back for another running back. That would be my pick. Like I would go and try to get, in a Chain or a Gibbs, early in that second, and then I would try to get a Zach C with that comp pick in the third. But if you're telling me we need one running back, I'm getting one of those 4 guys first.
Yes, me too.
Because of the home run speed.
Right. Okay, real quick, let's double back real fast. Go ahead,
Just,
Rob.
are you going to ask the question? Because
Yeah, I
G-Man
was.
was asking about his pass blocking.
That's what I was
back in
just getting ready to get into right now. He said he's not sure about his pass blocking, though. You know what? I stayed up late last night because I was like, let me double check this. I want to give him a score he doesn't deserve. So I went back and watched an extra 50 to 100 snaps, and I've seen a lot of good stuff from him. He will chip. He will pass block. He will stick his nose in the fan one-on-one. He needs a little bit of work on it. It's not like mastered by no means, but he will get in the way and make his block. So, yes, he can block, but it's not his strong suit. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. It's something that could get better.
Yes, it's something that can get better, but he can do it. Steve, welcome to the house, buddy. Steve's in the house. Steve Malloy. Yes, Ricky Williams did run a 4.4. If Zach Charbonnet runs anything near a 4.4, like I said right now, it's going to make his draft stock go incredibly sky high. It'll go high because he has everything else. He can do a lot of different things that people don't realize. It depends on what kind of style you run. And I see Sean are like, oh, I don't think he fits the scheme because he's a between the tackles type of a runner. But at UCLA, they do run an outside zone scheme. I've seen them run it plenty of times watching tape on it. They'll run outside zone scheme. So he's familiar with it. But no, it's not his forte. He's more between the tackles. But when I watch that kid run, man, he runs violently. He runs hard behind his tackles. And I think he's quick, sneaky, fast. He's by no means a burner, but he's sneaky, quick. Don't get me wrong. He could run away from you if you let him go. There's a couple guys like that in this draft that they're just you don't see it until the next thing you know, you look and they're gone.
Everyone, make sure you like and subscribe. Smash that subscribe button for us so you can get all kinds of great NFL draft coverage coming up. And like I mentioned earlier, if you guys are dropping in to talk about the offensive line coach, we've talked about it some, but everyone has different schedules. So drop a line what you think of Butch Barry being hired by the Miami Dolphins.
Right.
And do you give it a thumbs up, a thumbs down? Let us know your thoughts.
Kendall,
and you guys can go back to your draft talk if you want. Just letting them know they have the right to come in here and talk about
absolutely. I was actually going to go back to that conversation and ask Kendall, seeing how we just broke down and had the news with the Vic Fangio news, what do you think about that hiring? Do you like that one? What do you see coming forward out of that?
The Fangio or the
Fangio.
I love Fangio. Love Fangio. The best available hire. I mean, I also like the side. I also like the former. I forgot his name. I think it's Richard.
Yeah, Chris Richard. Yep.
Yeah, I like both of them as well. I think the biggest difference is Fangio has a proven track record.
Yeah,
everything that I heard about
by far.
Right. Everything that I heard about Desai is great. Like I feel like he's the next up and coming guy. But I mean, you can't beat experience at the NFL level. Another thing too is I don't feel like Fangio is going to take any BS from the front office. He's not going to go into these OTAs and look at the roster and say, "Oh no, I can make it work with these linebackers."
No, he's going to say, "I want it." That's not his style. I want this guy. I want my guy. That's what's going to happen. So,
and if he's saying if Chris Greer is not going to go out and pay for one of his guys or one of the guys that he likes, he's going to say, okay, well, we're going to draft some guys that I like. So either way fits with me. I mean, I'm fine with drafting 2-3 linebackers in this draft. I really don't care. I think that this linebacker draft is really good. And so I think that, and that's the thing, like I know I was talking to some people yesterday on Twitter Spaces, and they were saying, the difference between like a running back and a linebacker is a linebacker from day one could be like a top 10 player in the league. And I agree, but I think that there's a difference between how I felt about Devin Lloyd last year and how I feel about Drew Sanders this year.
Oh yeah, dude.
I feel like there's a huge gap.
Big gap right
Drew
there.
Sanders and the next linebacker.
Yeah.
And like I just, and then the biggest thing too is I think a lot of these linebackers have exactly what we need as far as being able to cover coverage linebackers and true middle linebackers. I think that the biggest thing is height, size, and weight.
Yeah.
So there's going to be guys that are probably slipping the third and the fourth, that like a Henry Toa or Devin Henley that are 6'2", 220, that could be bigger in order to kind of cause havoc in the run game.
Right.
but they're great at coverage.
Great at coverage. Henley right there, he's a thumper too, man. He'll hit you. What do you think about the Owen Popino out of Auburn?
All right, real quick, let me get to Richard. Yeah, Richard, we had touched about that too. We really wanted that Mike Munchak too.
We sure did.
And then, but it is what it is, and like you said, we just have to trust McDaniel so far.
Sucks.
And hopefully, he picked right. He did work with Barry in 2021 with the San Francisco 49ers. So hopefully Kendall comes back here. But anyway, yeah. So Mike Munchak is who we were hoping for too, and kind of pounding the table for. But like you said, we're just going to have to trust him at this point. All right, Kendall, I think, is coming back.
At this point in offense, our priority should be choose one left guard, right tackle, or a tight end. If I was to choose one of those guys and make it a priority, is that a priority in the draft, you're saying, Garrett, or a priority as far as free agency goes? Because we're talking there, all three of those positions. I don't want to draft and start any of them. I want veteran left guard, right tackle, or tight end. I want veteran of all three of those.
Welcome back, Kendall.
That's what I was talking about. Owen, what do you think about that Owen Popino though from Auburn though, Kendall?
I was pulling up my spreadsheet. I had to. I always forget with Popino how his size.
He's big too.
You can't tell that he's 6'1" on tape.
He looks shorter.
That's the thing. Like that's another guy where I kind of struggle to understand where he's going to go in the draft. Just because I think teams now are going to be looking at, what size are you?
Right. I agree. And you're thinking it's more along the lines of, at least for the coaching staff, it's going to be more along the lines of their profile, their height and their weight, something like that, and like their broad jump or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, just because I feel like this is such a linebacker deep draft, I don't think that they're going to be going so much on, what did you do in college? Just because there are guys like there's a linebacker from Jackson State that impressed, and I want to say I get the Shrine Bowl and the Senior Bowl mixed up, but he was in one of the bowl games and he impressed very much so. And so there's going to be a lot of linebackers in this draft where they're just going to look at your measurables in the combine. And not as much as, what school you went to. That's why I have Henry. If you would have asked me going into this year, where is Henry To'oTo'o going to go? I don't think he exits out of the second round. Like I said, his coverage ability is that good. But when you have guys like Drew Sanders and Jack
Campbell,
and just muddying up the draft class this year,
that makes him fall.
What they were able to do, it makes him fall back. And then you look at it and you're like, yeah, you're great in coverage, but Henry, you're only 6'2", 220.
Yep.
And so it makes teams second guess. So that's why when it comes to Popino, he's 6'1", 225 listed.
Yeah, he's To'oTo'o size.
So, those are people who I kind of like. I think they're good prospects. Where they fall, I just don't know. But like I said, I'm fine with drafting 2 or 3 linebackers.
Right, same here.
Steve has to roll out, but thank you, Steve, for joining us today. Make sure you guys join Steve every Tuesday night, 7:30 p.m. on the Fins Talk Sports Network. Thank you, Steve. Yeah. Fins up, and as you say, Dolphin number 1. Later, Steve.
Hell yeah, but real quick before I forget, like you just said, your strategy right there with you're okay with drafting a couple of them. I am too. I'm totally fine with that. As long as the thumper middle linebacker is Jack Campbell, then I'm okay filling up the rest of those positions with To'oTo'os, Popinos, even Bumper Pool, because those are the guys that we're talking about. They're not they don't play in traffic as well as like the Sanders, Jack Campbell, even the Sewell. They don't play as well in
Oh, he froze up. He doesn't play as well with someone. He was going to say, you can finish his thought, Kendall.
Yeah, I think Drew Sanders just has that.
Like a mean mug.
I think Drew Sanders just has that get out of the way athleticism, speed,
yeah, he does.
And strength. I know this is a stretch because of what Micah Parsons is doing in the NFL, but the way I look at it is how everybody viewed Micah Parsons versus Jalen Phillips. And Jalen Phillips is a great player. But anybody who knows football knows that there's a pretty huge gap between Michael Parsons and Jalen Phillips. And on draft day, it wasn't a huge gap because Michael Parsons was drafted 13th or 15th or something like that.
Yeah, it's two picks.
And we got Phillips. Yeah, it was only 2 picks. But there's that huge of a gap between that player and that production where you're able to put Michael Parsons. And a lot of people are like, "Oh, Michael Parsons is an outside linebacker." When he was coming into the draft, Michael Parsons was a do-it-all, put him anywhere type of player. He's an athlete. And that's what told people on Michael Parsons. I'm not necessarily saying the same about Drew Sanders as far as him being an athlete, being able to put him anywhere. But he did come into the college as a DN, moved to linebacker. He has the speed and athleticism. I legit think if you do go out there and get a true middle linebacker in free agency, whether that's a David Long, whether that's a TJ Edwards from Philly, if you get Drew Sanders, he has the pass rush ability for you to be able to put him on the outside, the weak side, the strong side. You can put him anywhere in your linebacker room, and that's what I love about Drew Sanders.
No,
he's necessarily do that with Jack Campbell. I don't think you can necessarily do that with the linebacker from Clemson. I forget his name at the time.
Oh, you're talking about Simpson?
Yeah, I don't think you can do that with Simpson. They're a little bit more one-dimensional, but I just the more and more I watch Drew Sanders on tape.
See, the way you're talking about Sanders and Parsons and like that, I get it. I understand. I completely agree. But the guy that I see the Parsons, to me at least, is that Ivan Pace Jr. And he has the flexibility to do something like that. He's very athletic, very quick twitchy, and he has pass rush polish, which he pass rush, and he has a good set of hands, knows how to use them. I kind of missed on the Parsons thing, to be quite honest with you. And the reason why is because I underestimated his pass rush ability. I underestimated his closing speed. I underestimated him being a great athlete and a coverage player just in general. But can you speak a little bit about, you talked about the gap to Jalen Phillips and Parsons. Like, what is that gap? What separates those two? Because from what I see, it's a speed and like the ability basically just to fight off blockers and just like not be his will is a little bit more than, I guess, Jalen Phillips, I would say, but I can't take anything away. I think they're a little bit closer than
real quick. Parsons went at 12, and we got our guy at Phillips at 18. So that's
okay. So it's like five picks. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So,
but I think there was no DNs taken or outside linebackers, whatever you want to call them at the time, taken in between there. So I think it was a run on like cornerbacks and receivers, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to Ivan Pace, I mean, I definitely see that. But the difference is with Ivan Pace is I don't see, like I said, I see him being a little bit more one-dimensional, being more of an outside linebacker type. I don't really see him having the ability to play middle linebacker just because of different things as far as what I'm seeing on tape. The ability to be cerebral. I think Ivan Pace is so instinct.
He's very instinctive.
He reminds me of what you saw with Channing Tindall with the athleticism and all of the pieces being there. I don't think that Channing Tindall should have sat the entire year and not gotten the ability to play on Sundays and everything like that. But it's going to take a while for things to click because you have to match the instinct with cerebralness, or teams are going to take advantage of that. And the few snaps that you did see Channing Tindall have this year, they were able to take advantage of that. And it's to hone in some tackling as well. So I think with Ivan Pace, he kind of reminds me of that type of player, which is completely fine. And I think that if when he puts it together, it's going to be
lights out.
And that's what I think everybody is looking at, because I think at the next level, it's not going to be a huge transition for him to be able to put things together.
Right.
But what was I saying with the Michael Parsons versus Jalen Phillips? I think that when it comes to the pass rush moves, when it comes to literally being able to hit a second gear within plays, That's the huge difference
Really?
between Phillips. I'd love to see Phillips work with somebody this year to get him more pass rush moves, which I feel like Phillips was. I mean, Mekhi Parsons was able to do when he took that year off from Penn State. Was
Right.
truly work on his game and sharpen his game, and he came in with an array of pass rush moves. And I feel like Phillips right now is relying on his speed, athleticism,
Really?
strength to be able to just bull rush people. I'm not really seeing, you know, the Melvin Ingram spin move. I'm not seeing too much other stuff than him just trying to manhandle you. So when I see that, I feel like his game is gonna change.
No
Do you think
way.
Fangio though? Do you think Fangio will help him? Is what you're saying?
Yeah, for sure,
Okay.
100%.
I think I could see that where you see it, but the difference right now from looking back when I did look at Parsons and from now is the difference between Jalen Phillips and Parsons is, for me at least, is quite simply this: he's stronger and he's fast. That's it. And that's why I think it's a difference right there. I don't know if about the pass rush moves things you're talking about. I think Jalen's got everything, dude. I think he's got pass rush moves for days, counters with on top of moves. He just ain't using them yet. And I'll be honest with you, it sounds silly. I think there's more to him. There's more meat on the bone, and we're yet to see
100%.
Jalen Phillips' peak yet. He's gonna.
Yeah.
It's not now.
Oh, that's
But
why I think Big Fangio was the best hire possible.
absolutely.
He knows what he has in Chubb, and now he's got a shiny new toy in Phillips to be able to be able to work with. It's gonna
Gets me
it's gonna
excited.
be amazing, bro.
I hope
But
so.
no, I think the speed and the athleticism is a huge thing that separates him. But I've seen guys make a career without having that, just by being able to polish some of those pass rush
Those
moves.
pass rush
And so
moves. Yep.
that's why I think that, when it comes down to Phillips and people are like, why isn't he, a 10 sack guy, like really making his presence felt, you know, it's those small things that will help him get to the quarterback faster. That way he doesn't have to necessarily rely on his athleticism. Because the ends can play until they're 35, bro.
Right.
They can. And they're not always going to be the fastest human beings on the planet. But they have, an array of different skills that they use to be able to use the quarterback.
So, guys, what
Richard,
do you
let's
think of
get it in.
Richard's view? If we
Yeah.
sign our running backs, do you think we go defense then in the first couple of rounds? If we bring back Mozart and Wilson, do you think, and Ahmed and all those guys, do you think we go defense, or what's your line of thought there?
If you bring back those guys, like he's saying, when you if we resign our running backs, I bet we go defense first couple picks in the draft, middle linebacker, huge defense, and strong safety, then offense. Running backs in 2023, Mostert, Wilson, McIntosh, Ahmed, practice squad. I'd love the scenario. What do you guys think? With the running backs, and then we bet we go defense for the first couple picks in the draft. Yes, especially if we had re-signed Mostert and Wilson or whatever you said, and then Ahmed, something like that, bring him back. Like I've already said, you've heard me talk about how I think the strength of this draft is on the defensive side. I want a middle linebacker with that first pick, and I think Kendall would agree with me. If Drew anywhere near our pick, or even if you had to trade up to get him, I don't care. I want Drew Sanders on this football team. I'll say it till I'm blue in the damn face.
We're gonna get a comp pick for Gesicki. I'm sending this our second and next year's comp pick to trade up to get Drew Sanders.
Drew Sanders, absolutely.
I mean, even Jahmyr Gibbs. I mean, I would if it's not going to cost you anything, but maybe a pick from next year, I'd do it.
Right.
Just because I think that Gibbs is a perfect fit for this. But I mean, if you tell me right now that both are on the board, I'm getting Drew Sanders.
Right. Absolutely. Same here. Before we get into G-Man's comment, real quick, what do you guys think about the scenario? And this is a real possibility. And I think Kendall like of doubling up on those picks right there and taking two linebackers right off the bat. I wouldn't be opposed to adding Drew Sanders and Ivan Pace Jr. together. That would make a deadly combination right there that I would be all for it. So if you're talking to me about adding and doubling up, I would try to double up on linebackers somewhere in this draft, whether it's back-to-back early, like mid, and then late.
Yeah.
What do you think?
All the mocks that I'm doing linebacker, running back, linebacker.
Okay.
So I think the biggest thing is there's a combination of two guys that I think are worth second round picks. That's Drew Sanders, of course, and Jack Campbell.
So real quick, would you put both of them together? With
100%.
Campbell and all right, cool. We're on the same page because that's what I would do if any of them are on the board. I don't care if it's Sanders and Campbell and Pace.
But you got
the combination of any of the three. Yeah, you got to get one. You get two. I'll take any of the three. Meaning Campbell, Sanders.
So where does their last year pick Tyndall fall in this scenario? Do you guys just writing him off already, or do you still got hope that he's
not at all?
We need to literally. I don't think that the only linebacker that I think should come back next year is Jerome Baker. Everybody else, I appreciate your time and your tenure here as a Miami Dolphin. I will see you when we play your next team, if you have a next team.
I would trade Jerome Baker.
I would trade Jerome Baker as well.
That's what I would do.
Here's the thing. I think that Tyndall is Jerome Baker Jr.
Yep. Same here.
He can play Jerome Baker's position better.
Same
Jerome
here.
Baker
Same here.
Because he's more athletic. I think he has the ability to be better in coverage.
He can play in traffic. He can stack and shed, and Jerome Baker can't.
Right. So I think that's a big reason why Channing Tindall didn't get on the field last year is you can't have two Jerome Bakers in your linebacker.
Yeah, you can't have two guys who can't shed blocks in your linebacker core. You need guys who can play in traffic and make tackles. That's just fucking
right.
Hey, Stetson, welcome to our show. Your first time commenter. Thank you,
Stetson, welcome to the show.
Yeah, welcome to the show.
Resign Wilson and Mostert.
You're like G-Man. You're sounding like G-Man. He came up with the same scenario. Bring those back, and he more specifically says get McIntosh, but running back, same thing.
We're for that. Yeah,
and I don't think that you have to. I don't think that you have to sign Mostert right away. I don't think teams are, begging to get Mostert services. I think you could probably get him on a vet minimum contract.
So do I.
Contract.
Yep.
After the draft, after seeing what you can get, what value pieces you can get. Same thing with maybe Jeff Wilson might have because he's younger, he might have and has less tread on his tires. He might have a few more teams calling for him, but I think that Wilson really wants to be in Miami because he knows that this is the best system for him. So I don't really think that we have to go and outbid for any of the running backs that we have, and I don't feel like we have to rush to sign them. But there's three players on this team that I want traded.
Let's hear it.
Cedric Wilson. I want him traded so he can blossom somewhere else. We don't need him.
Right, we don't need him.
I want Agba traded.
So do I.
And I want
Jerome Baker. Okay, me and you are on the same page. I want all three of those guys gone as well. You have to. You have to move on.
If I could get anywhere between a 4th and a 6th round pick for Agba,
take it. I'll take
whatever you get. Anywhere between a 4th and a 6th round pick for Jerome Baker,
take it.
Do it. And don't tell me that it's not possible because we literally just got rid of Devontae Parker to the Patriots for a 3rd round pick.
Come on, you could do this. You could do this. You just got to get on the phone.
Salary might be a little hindrance. Other than that,
offer to pay half. Offer to pay half. Just get it off the books. We need that off the books right away.
Yeah. And Stetson, and sorry guys, you younger guys, you're gonna have to hear first time commenter Stetson. So we got a
Dolphin song today.
Yeah, we got to play a little Dolphins. Every time someone comments for the first time in our room, we throw a little bit. We gotta keep it short. That was for you, Stetson. We always try to play that song for a minute when someone comments for the first time. So anyway, I didn't mean to cut you guys off. So, but you're still telling me there's hope for Tendo at least because last year's draft class is very disappointing. No, nothing from Easy, nothing from Tendo. So we had an undrafted free agent outperform them all and Cater Kuho.
Right.
It was a miss.
Yep. It's crazy. It's crazy because like what he's saying about Tyndall, I agree, man. Think about all the money you save if you can move on from Jerome Baker. Yeah. Channing Tindall can step right in there and do what to what Jerome does and probably do it even better because he can tackle.
And they had a good article on
traffic.
Z, switching to the offense. EZ had a good Barry Jackson wrote up a good article on him the other day. He said a lot of it was just learning because it's very complicated play calling and long plays. So that's what Wes Welker. Oh, he must be getting near the end. I knew it. He always falls out right at the end. But they were saying it's a very complicated offense, long plays, and easy. He didn't play until the last game of the season, and then he didn't play in the playoffs, but he played against the Jets. He had
did he even touch the field against the Jets? I know he was active.
Yeah, he caught one pass, and Wes Welker said he blocked well on a couple other plays for run plays. So at least he got in. Justin, I don't hear you, Justin. Justin, no, we don't hear you. So I don't know. But anyway, it's almost time for us to wrap up. Is he there? No. Live. This is what we do when we go live, man. Those pre-recorded shows, I guess, have an advantage. But anyway, so yeah, hopefully, those two guys, and I know we didn't have no first round pick, but we didn't have many draft picks last year. So, but the two that we had up was kind of high. Neither one of them got in there. Let's see if he's back.
Oh,
yeah, they're back.
All right. Yeah, you got to fall out at least once right throughout the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I think the arrow's up for the Dolphins right now. I say that every year. Of course, I'm not going to get sucked in again like I did last year, but I want to see us win games. I want to win a Super Bowl. I like what we're doing. Every Dolphins fan should be excited. Let's get our books together. Let's get into free agency, clear some of this money, drop some of this belly fat we have, and get into shape and get ready for the season. You know what I'm saying?
We'll
Fins
talk
up.
more tomorrow, of course. And I remember we're going to do some fun prop bets tomorrow. Not that we're going to bet, but we're going to bring up some fun stuff to some of the prop bets for the Super Bowl. See what you guys say. Remember, don't gamble only unless you can afford.
Exactly.
Don't go crazy. It's just all for fun. I can't even gamble here in Florida, so
right. Yeah, we'll bring in some prop bets for you guys tomorrow. Ones I think that look fun. So we'll put those up here and share them with you guys, and you guys can spend your money on it.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, you guys have a great day. Kendall, as always.
Kendall, my man. Thanks for coming in.
Pleasure. Guys, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button.
That's
Stetson,
right.
Please subscribe if you haven't done so already, and give us a like at least
G-Man.
on this video today.
Garrett,
thank you for joining us. G-Man, as always, you rock. Steve's gone, but
love you,
rock.
Steve.
Richard Ender was in here for a half a second earlier, but he left. But all of you guys are great. So fins up to all of you guys.
Fins up.
Justin, anything you want to close out with, or you're good?
Nope. I'm good, man. Love you guys.
All right,
Fins
so
up.
we're
Let's
gonna
go.
close out with your song then.
First kick, I snap into action. When I'm digging in the trenches, get dominated off the line of scrimmage. Read and react quick to make it early diagnosis. Hit you with the quick release like Marino Danny dopeness. Explosive change of direction.